life. You got this. Go chase it, live your life. Enlighten you. Let the light shine through. Enlighten you. Just see it through.
I'm Melissa Thrasher.
And I'm Lolita Cummings.
Welcome to Enlighten U, Eastern Michigan University's award-winning mental health podcast for students. If you live in Michigan right now, or even the Midwest, you do not want to miss the show. It's January, it's cold, and many of us are suffering from seasonal affective disorder, also known as the winter blues.
Okay, everyone, we're in it. Borrowing a famous line from Game of Thrones, winter is here. And for many of us, the season does not just bring the cold, but it also has the nerve to bless us with the reduced sunlight and sadness. According to the American Psychiatric Association, approximately 35% of us here in the Midwest suffer from seasonal affective disorder. That means that 1 in 3 of us here on campus or in Michigan get the winter blues. And let me just raise my hand and say that I am one of them. But that's not all. Because of the cold and snow here in Michigan, many of us also hunker down in our own cocoons. That may help keep us warm, but it can also lead to isolation. So today, we're also going to talk about loneliness.
And to help us do that, we are welcoming Isabella Cannon. Bella is a senior public relations major here at EMU. She is also a corporate communications intern for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, and it was her role there that caught our attention. While interning, Bella wrote a blog for Blue Cross that she titled What I Do to Combat Loneliness in College. So she's here to talk about it today. We also have Dr. Aisha Mustafa, our resident mental health expert, a licensed clinical therapist, and an assistant professor in EMU's Department of Leadership and Counseling. We love having her here because she gives such great advice. Welcome, Bella and Aisha, to Enlighten You.
Bella, I'm going to start with you because of your blog. But first of all, I want to welcome both of you to Enlighten You. We're going to talk about your blog a little bit. We're going to talk about loneliness, and then we're going to transition to seasonal affective disorder because the two are kind of connected. But before I do that, full disclosure, I know you. You were in a couple of my classes. And that was one of the reasons why I was so surprised when I read your blog, because in class you seemed so, outgoing and well received. And I had no idea that you felt any kind of loneliness while here at EMU. So let's start, if you don't mind, by telling us a little bit about the blog, what led you to write it, the content of it, and how you felt here when you wrote it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So I got the opportunity to write this blog through my internship with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, which was a great opportunity. So it's through our blog page, A Healthier Michigan, which focuses a lot on mental health, wellness, nutrition, and just community things in Michigan. So when I was asked to write the blog, I didn't realize how passionate I was about the topic until I just started typing, and it just kept flowing. And I realized that I have had such a revelation throughout these last 4 years, now that I'm a senior. But the biggest thing about writing the blog is that I was so sure as a high school student that I was going to be one of those people that went away for college and had this big experience, life-changing, meeting friends, doing all those movie ideal type picturesque things, or staying up late and all those types of things.
Quite a picture there, girl.
I was convinced. I was this is going to be my reality. And then when it came down to it, Eastern just ended up being the place for me. But I remember the night before my first day of classes, just feeling panicked. Because I was like, oh no, I don't know anybody. I don't really have any connections. I really hadn't gotten to visit the school very much because it was during that COVID era where there wasn't a lot of time to go visit college campuses. And I just felt this overwhelming feeling of, I'm going to be alone. How am I going to make friends? How am I going to thrive? What's going to happen? And throughout these last 4 years, I've just learned so many things. And I have made genuine friendships. And so I wrote this blog because I want to reach people who are in similar situations as me, going into college unsure about maybe they're unsure if they're going to be able to make friends. They're unsure if they're going to be lonely, or if they're going to thrive or not. And so I just want to encourage everyone that, like, I'm not the only one who feels this way at Eastern, and there are so many others that feel that way, and I want to be a voice for them.
Thank you so much for deciding to be an advocate for others, because I know you really are helping. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And I want to add, thank you for choosing EMU. EMU is a great school. I'm glad you're
I love
here.
it
And
now,
now you're in your, 4th year?
Yes, I'm a senior this year.
Good. So we're going to dive deep into the blog. I want to hear all about it. First of all, I do want to say I'm sorry that you felt isolated at EMU, but can you talk about your journey? What things did you do and you described in your blog that helped you along the way?
So one of my biggest pieces of advice to anyone is to just get involved and join a student organization. It sounds a little bit cheesy. That's kind of like the traditional things that your parent will tell you, or they'll tell you at the beginning when you first join as you're going on a tour. They're like, join a student organization. But it really is true. Like, finding that community, that network of people that you can relate to outside of just school-related activities, and doing something fun, doing something more social, it can be really beneficial. And another thing that I wrote about was finding ways to get involved by volunteering in your community. So one of the organizations I decided to join combines both my love for just getting involved and meeting friends, but also volunteering. So I'm in a national service sorority. It's called Omega Phi Alpha. We're an all-inclusive service sorority, so anyone can join. And I actually found out about it at Eagle Fest in the fall of my freshman year. And the girls at the booth were so kind, and I was like, I think I want to be involved in this. And it was the best decision I ever made. I am still in it today, actively participating. I've met so many wonderful friends, and we've gotten to do so many community service projects together for just the community, helping out. It feels so good. And it's so rewarding to actually give back, and it helps you form larger bonds and connections with those people that you're serving with. So not only are you helping others, but you're establishing those friendships during that.
Awesome. So for those students who may not have attended Eagle Fest before, or for students at other universities who may have something similar to Eagle Fest but don't know, can you explain just briefly what Eagle Fest is?
Yeah, absolutely. So Eagle Fest is basically our annual club fair that we do in the fall every year. Typically it's outside, and they set it up all outside of the student center, and you go around to all the different booths and you get to meet representatives, different students that are part of. There's so many organizations. It's very overwhelming, but it's so much fun.
Oh, nice.
I love that. And Eastern does have a lot of student orgs for every interest imaginable. I mean, if you go on the website, there are pages and pages of student orgs. And so what you're saying is find one that has activities that are in alignment with what you like to do, which is what you do. What kind of projects have you guys worked on, or organizations have you worked with?
Yeah, so one of the running projects that we do a lot is Project Linus, where you make fleece blankets to donate to children in hospitals. So that's one that we like to do a lot. We also have Prospect Park down the street. We do park cleanups there quite frequently, so that's another one that's pretty near and dear to my heart.
Very nice. Well, congratulations, and I'm glad you found it. Now, Aisha, I want to ask you a question, bring you into the conversation, because when I would see Bella in class, she would be around a lot of people. And I think that's true for a lot of our students. They're in classes, they're surrounded by people, but they still may feel alone. So there's like this nuance there with loneliness and feeling alone. Can you talk a little bit about that? How can you be in a group of people but still feel alone? Because I think I've had that feeling before.
Yeah, that's a great question. So in class, some folks, they may experience that they feel engaged, they don't feel lonely in that setting. People know their name, they ask what they did that weekend, but then going home, particularly if folks are commuting, it's now a lack of community. I'm sitting at home, maybe there's not group projects, and it's particularly for commuting students, they may have, I am here Tuesday and Thursday, back to back to back. I eat lunch quickly, and it's like, well, I'm not going to be back on campus until the following week. Additionally, with loneliness, feeling like you're not part of the conversation. This is particularly for folks maybe neurodivergent, feeling like they're not picking up on the social cues, not feeling brought into conversations. They don't have things to contribute. A lot of these like negative thinking that I'm the only one who doesn't get it. And we can have perceptions of everyone in the class are best friends. They all hang out. It's just me who experiences this. And often we all have that feeling of look at these people talking after class, and literally they're just having a conversation. They don't know each other, but feeling like I'm not a part of this setting.
You just described my situation. Like,
I saw you nodding. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to ask Bella if she's experienced some of this.
Yeah.
yeah, and I'd say another thing is like, there's been people in my classes, my freshman, sophomore year, that were very kind and very nice. But then the moment I leave, it's like all our conversations are very like entry level. It doesn't really get very deep, and so you can't really establish that connection, and you don't get to stay on campus and go out to lunch after or anything like that sometimes. So it's just like a very different experience.
That's interesting. I'm going to ask you a question based on something she just said. So you're absolutely right. With a lot of the classroom conversation with people you don't know, the conversations are very surface. How can a student move from who really wants to be involved, who really wants to feel connected to someone else? How can they move that conversation from something very surface level to something a little bit deeper?
That is a great question. So I think part of it for faculty and staff, helping folks feel connected. So for the first class, creating a community of care. So Dr. Flowers talked about this on the first episode of Enlighten U in September 2023. So I think it's a group effort. It's not just the student's responsibility to state, hey, do you want to grab coffee or what do you do? It's everyone's job. If you notice in a group setting that someone's not talking, how to bring them in. So sometimes faculty may have group projects where I've heard people will say someone's the note taker. And so I remember someone in my undergrad would say the person with the longest pinky should be the note taker. And so very interesting, she explained, because often the pinky that's longest is someone who is a man. And so men may not take as much space in talking over folks. And then, it's a very intriguing thing of trying to set up, like, how do we invite people to take a step back, to take a step forward? Other things that are helpful is finding little opportunities to connect. So as we know, we love Tinker. And so I go to office hours on Wednesday at the library and hang out with Tinker's mom, Alexis Brown Marks, and just sit on the floor and talk with folks. And I see repeat people. And so I start talking to students and like, oh, they're nervous on the interview. And the following week, I'm like, how did it go? And then also, it's perfectly fine to just sit there and pet Tinker because there's no pressure to talk. And, yesterday was Tinker's last office hours for the year at the library. And I was like, when they said goodbye, I was like, I won't see you till the new year, to the other students. And it's just a great way to feel that there's a connection and that, like, I'm looking forward to seeing you the following thing. So always a fan of the office hours.
Okay. Can I ask one more question? And then I promise I'm turning everything over to you. You mentioned something about group projects, and students give me crap all the time for group projects. I mean, they hate, and I get it, because when I'm working on a project, I like going solo dolo, right? I like depending on what I do, because I know I'm going to be in time. So a lot of students don't like group projects, although I still assign them. But I never really thought about how that could benefit a student who feels alone, because it puts them in a smaller group, gives them an opportunity to have more one-on-one conversations. Does that help, Bella? Or do you still hate group projects?
I would say it definitely depends on the course. If it's a course that you are going to be around those people a lot, for example, like my major, the public relations major, the class is pretty small. So that would be helpful, because then you're probably going to see them in multiple classes afterwards if you can establish that relationship now. But for other classes where maybe it's like a gen ed class, I would say probably not. But I think one of the biggest things you can do is, as a student, is to invite other people out on a study date to go study together. Because regardless of your major, your interests, or your hobby, you all have that shared experience of being in the same life stage. And it can make for a really just nice study day, and you never know the connections that it could form. I had 2 girls before I went to Eastern that I kind of knew of, that I knew were going to Eastern. And I remember the first week of school, I threw both their numbers in a group chat and I said, hey, you guys don't know each other, but we're going to go get coffee the first week of school. And they're my best friends to this day.
I love that.
Yeah, we still go and do study dates. We're all completely different majors. So when we study, it looks very different. But just having that shared experience of being at the same phase of life, it can be huge. And it might take some trial and error. Not every study date was going to be as successful as that possibly, but just keep trying, keep inviting people out, being bold. People just want to feel wanted. And so you taking that step of just saying, hey, I would like to see you outside of class is huge, especially for someone that doesn't live on campus.
That is courageous and could be so effective.
I find it's the like, oh, we talk in class, it's fun, but like dating is like, do you want to move this outside of class? Like, it's like awkward. So it's back like kind of like orientation for my program. I was like, hey, the most important people in this room are your colleagues, your students that are with you. So like exchange numbers now, you know, getting a WhatsApp and checking in. And because it's very hard to transition, you know, maybe if you're like, one thing I really like is when I'm exchanging numbers with someone is to text them in the moment, hey, this is Aisha, because it's like, there's the broken ground of we now have the group, we have the chat there. And so that's a great way to make connections. And I will be awkward on purpose, like, this is weird. And the other person's like, it is weird. I didn't know how to ask you. Can we actually be friends?
Right.
Even if it's like, let's just study and like not even talk, it's good to have an accountability buddy and just like low pressure things.
I love that. That's a really good way to break that tension
Yeah,
and
it's
that
like,
ice.
this is weird.
It's almost like you're pushing people who may otherwise feel isolated or who might be an introvert. You're pushing them out there, you know, to kind of break the cycle of loneliness, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any other advice to give in terms of how to break that cycle of feeling lonely?
Yeah, so part of it is reducing the negative thoughts that like this person is they're just pitying me in class. You know, they're just trying to be nice. They really don't like me. They don't want to bring me in, and just being like, this person's talking to me and you are so unworthy of belonging. With campus, there's a term in higher ed called sense of belonging. So wanting folks to feel connected. And with commuting students, it can be particularly hard if they have specific days they're here, outside of the days if they're working full time, working part time. The added commute, some folks is 10 minutes, other folks is 45 minutes. They may have partners, dependents. It's just a whole separate life, and not feeling and trying to work through that, like someone can't understand what my other life is. You know, if someone they're paying their own tuition versus someone whose parents paying, there's still other things to talk about. As you know, talking about dogs is just like,
Universal.
just like we can just talk about it like, oh, I saw a dog at the park and I got excited, versus I have a dog. And it doesn't have to be this huge pressure of like, oh my God, we're dating as friends. Like, how do we progress to like, we're going to be good friends? How do I get the best friend in college? You know, I see on TV, everyone has college best friends. It's just Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's just Tuesday.
I love
Go
it.
and take a walk.
Right.
Or, oh, I'm going to the student center after class. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going to Pease Hall. Like, oh, do you want to just walk for a second? Like, that's just a very low pressure.
Yeah. And it sounds like we should let our relationships happen organically too, right? Let them develop over time. I mean, you have to put some effort into it like you did, but just let them evolve, because eventually they will. So, you know, Bella mentioned that she's a commuter, and there are a lot of commuters at EMU. So I'm assuming that loneliness is something that a lot of our students face. Can you talk about why it's so prevalent among college students?
Yeah, I think the transition from high school to college, if folks are traditional age students, in high school, there's more structure. So maybe you have smaller classes. I went to the same school system, K through 12. So I grew up with folks. And so we're in marching band. Okay, within marching band, we're on the clarinet section. And
You played clarinet?
I did.
I did too.
Love marching band. So it wasn't just like band class. And there was marching band that's smaller. And then there is the clarinet section. And so there's just little pockets to make more connections. And then the students I was with where we took similar classes, and then we would talk about, okay, well, why don't you take AP English this hour? Because I'm going to take it. And then you're in different smaller clubs and service clubs where you met more people. Where in college, you just show up and there's so much stuff. And the Eagle Fest and other opportunities are great, but it's like, well, which one do you start at? And we can get caught up in the, well, am I going to like it? And it's just like, just attend the meeting. Just go plant flowers. Like, you don't have to commit to anything. And so there's a little bit of effort of just taking a tiny little step, dipping the toe into these things. For folks that are commuting, thinking about how will you create a sense of belonging on campus? Is there one day that you can have a 2-hour break and not have back-to-back classes where you're exhausted, your social battery's down, you don't want to make extra effort to meet people because you have to go do other commitments.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
It does. So we've been talking about what you did to try and alleviate some of your loneliness. What if, for example, Bella, and maybe you've been in this situation before, I don't know, but what if Bella sees another student who she thinks is in trouble, who may suffer from loneliness? What do those students who want to help someone else, can they do? And what should they be looking for in other students who may or may not be suffering from loneliness?
Yeah, so there's a clinical term called SIGECAPS, so SIGECAPS.
You teach us so
Yeah.
much. You teach us
So like in the therapy setting, or doctors, they'll kind of go through like, are you experiencing symptoms? So like, is a student having sleep issues? So that could be lack of sleep, oversleeping. Eye interest is a huge piece of it. Is there lack of interest in doing things that you once loved? The G is feeling guilty. So like, I'm so sorry I turned in the paper 10 minutes late, and you're like, it's not that deep. I'm so sorry I made this mistake. You're like, okay. E, let me think for a second. I will come back to that. C is concentration, where it's really difficult to remember things. Like focusing in class is very intense and having difficulty. A, appetite changes, so overeating, undereating. P is a big one folks can pick up on, so psychomotor retardation. So this is, you just notice like shoulders are slumped, moving very slowly, where you're like, are you okay? Maybe talking very slowly, like, yeah, like I'm okay. S for suicidal ideation. So this can be more active statements of like, oh, I don't want to be alive, I have a plan. And it can also be, hey, what do you do this weekend? I don't know, nothing matters. And you're like, oh, okay. And I will come back to the E once I recall it.
It's just okay. That's a
So
lot.
if you see someone exhibiting some of those symptoms, then there may be a problem. And so have you ever reached out to someone else, not necessarily because you were feeling lonely, but because you thought they might need a friend? And if not, if you did, how might you do that? Some suggestions for others?
Yeah, I feel like one thing is just the power of being kind is so important, and just being a friendly face. I feel like a lot of people tend to kind of stick to themselves in a college setting, especially when it's not the classroom. Everyone's kind of head down on your phone or on your laptop, headphones in. And so it's just taking those moments to be open, like being an open person, maybe taking your headphones off in line and not looking at your phone. It's just one way to signal someone like you're open to a conversation.
Good.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's really good.
Yeah. Bella, I'm still stuck on your blog because I thought it was really juicy, really good. It had a lot of good information, a lot of great reminders. And you talked a little bit about social media. And I remember one line, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you said something like you can't mirror your college experience from social media, right? So let's talk about that. How do you think social media influences connections, isolation? What should we do about that?
So I would say one thing is I have really strong like FOMO, like fear of missing out. And so that was one of the struggles I had when I came to be a commuter at Eastern, was I was always constantly comparing my experience and my situation to what I was seeing on other people's social media of my friends that went away to school and all the things they were doing and all the friends they seemingly had. And I come to realize that some of those people behind the scenes were actually miserable. And when you actually sat down and talked with them, they weren't having as great of a college experience. So it's really important to remember social media is a highlight reel, and we put our best foot forward on social media. So we're showing everyone what we want them to see and not necessarily the reality. So never compare your college experience to social media, because you just never know what's really going on behind the scenes. And every person is different, and you can still have a good college experience, even if it looks different than somebody else's.
Exactly. It's your own journey, right?
And the amount of friends, not comparing it, having one good friend versus having 10. There's always the people get married and I've seen wedding parties of like 20 people. They invite the entire fraternity.
They barely know 'em.
Exactly. And like I'm a big fan of trying to stay off social media, the 12 to 4 a.m. where mood's lower and you see people post a picture. They're all super happy, their weekend plans. And as a therapist, I know the other side, and that's not what actually occurred. But everyone has that narrative. Everyone's having a great time.
So 12 to 4 is a time to...
That's why I feel like just go to bed. Just go to bed, because you're like, oh, people posted their picture out. They're at the concert. I can't do that, or I have to work, or why wasn't I invited? And just go to sleep.
Just go to sleep. It's not worth it at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
But there's obviously that other side. There's good and bad about everything. How can people use social media to try and alleviate loneliness, try and bring more connections into their lives? How can they do that?
So there's lots of different groups. I'm a part of the local area mom group. So people will say, hey, we're going to go to the park. If anyone just wants to show up, open invite, or, oh, hey, there's this new collaborative where parents can come and do work and pay $10 and kids are crawling around. There's different events of the Ann Arbor group will say, hey, there's Shakespeare in the park, and does someone want to attend? And so I think I really enjoy groups versus the scrolling of people posting the cute pajama pictures of all the families perfectly crafted. They're all monogrammed. You're like, oh, I'm wearing my ratty pajamas. And it's but I love pictures as just real pictures. So even when you're posting stuff yourself, I don't want the perfect picture where my kid's hair is perfect and she's smiling and looking at the camera. The dog's perfect. Just this is how we show up.
Right.
And not apologizing of the messiness, that this is what life looks like.
Because we often do that because we're comparing our pictures to someone else's and our lives to someone else. So if they have perfect children, then we need to have perfect children. If they have a perfect college experience, then we may need to make it look like we're having a perfect college experience.
Yes.
Although that's often disingenuous.
And big fan of EMU's alumni page. If your program has a page where people will be like, hey, I'm going to the game. Is anyone going? And great ways to meet folks who share the common love of loving Eastern and the Eagles.
There has to be some benefits to being social, putting yourself out there, getting to know people over time, joining organizations and, community service. What are some of the benefits of being, and both of you can answer this, of being social? I'll let you start first.
Sure. I feel like the benefits of being social is it just kind of gives you a little extra boost in your day of having that connection, or having someone follow up with you on something. If you were able to talk about something the day before and they're well, how was your piano recital? Or just being remembered, and also remembering to be that person for other people.
Yeah.
So you can make a difference for them.
Oh, I love that.
Because you have to be a good friend and have good friends. And, that's certainly one of the ways to do that, is to be interested in their lives.
That's so true. And I will give you credit every time you see me. How are you doing? What's going all the time? All the time.
Here.
I don't know if I reciprocate all the
You do. You absolutely do.
Okay, good. Okay, but that's what good friends are for. I love that.
Yeah.
Good.
No, you're a good friend. Good. So we're going to switch gears a little bit to talk about, and because the two are connected, loneliness and seasonal affective disorder, right? Or SAD, or what I typically referred to as the winter blues, right? So Aisha, what is it, and why is it so prevalent, especially here in the Midwest?
Yes, so seasonal affective disorder, SAD, winter blues, is major depression disorder with the modifier that it occurs in a seasonal setting. So often the fall and winter. So fall in college is exciting. There's energy, there's football, there's all these events. And October can become, oh, we're in school. We have midterms. And what I used to think is like, oh, the leaves are beautiful. Someone's like, well, they're dying. And I was like, oh, okay. And then there's sometimes, oh, and Halloween, I remember I had memories in high school, we'd do this. Like everything is shifting. And then in Michigan, October 31st, Halloween could be absolutely miserable, cold, rain, sleet. And so that can last until March when spring may or may not come, depending. And then again, you have the April final season, but then graduation comes. In general, I love the energy of the excitement. And I think also graduation can come and people have a sense of, I don't have the strong connections, or I see 10 people at the student center taking pictures together and I don't have that. And then social media and different orgs will put up the congratulations to the e-board, or look at all the happy smiling photos. And then summertime can be amazing for folks because the weather has changed, removal of stress of being in higher ed, and just getting outside more can improve that. But then you come to the fall again and people may be experiencing dread of this semester is going to be particularly hard, or it's my last year, or I really need to pick a major. So those can all be challenges of SAD.
Absolutely. And I'm one of those people who I don't anymore, maybe because of global warming and it's warming a little bit longer, but I hated to see fall coming. I hated to transition from summer to fall because fall meant that winter was coming. Yeah. And I didn't want to see winter where it's so cold, it's miserable. And, when we get the snow and it's dirty, then it's ugly. Yeah. And it's dark at 5:30.
Yeah, that's
I love the
early.
daylight until 9:30.
Right.
And that would just give me the blues. So I completely understand. Bella, how about you? How do you feel about winter coming?
So I'm definitely a summer girl. I think all my friends can attest to that. I feel like I thrive in the summer and the warm environment. At the beach, that's my happy place.
Right. Sun,
I
sand,
love
and
that
water.
too.
It's
Yes.
sun, sand, and water.
Yep.
Oh, it really does. But I think some things that help me when it is the winter time is just being able to do things for intentional self-care can be a really big, helpful part of getting through the winter season. So finding regular activity like daily exercise, finding time with friends. I have a prayer journal that I like to write in that really just helps me reflect. Gratitude gives me a little bit of a sense of purpose and hope as I continue my day. And so
You are putting me in a state of zen right now.
those are some great
Calm and
things.
peaceful, right?
Yeah, that's so nice. So nice. I was telling Lolita this a little bit earlier because I have a friend, and she follows Enlighten U, which I love. And I told her about today's episode, and she said, Missy, that is why I left Michigan. She said, I have that disorder and I hated being out there. So can you talk about why so many Michiganders deal with loneliness, isolation, sadness, all of these things that we're talking about?
Winter is coming. Let me see what time sunset is today. 5:02. And so the fact that it's incredibly cold, is windy, get the snow blow, shovel beforehand. If you're walking on campus, just the nervousness of it's just so much stuff you have to put on to get out and about. It's just a whole thing.
Right.
And so I think having steps to have the intentionality of things you look forward to in the winter. So sometimes people really love winter sports. I'm a big fan of just having little things I look forward to. So this week I bought sticker decals of snowflakes and a snowman to put up, and just and then I bought hearts for Valentine's Day. So it's looking forward to the decorating because once I see a blanket of snow, it's cute for a day, and then I'm like, oh my god, I hate this. I know, reminding myself my dog loves snow, so she's gonna destroy someone's snowman, and she's dragging that way, having a 7-month-old kid. Okay, what little things will she enjoy? Thinking about, can you try different hot chocolate places around? getting out and going to campus events. So restorative events, looking at the Office of DI and different things they have, I love. Tinker, amazing. It's Tinker's first winter here.
And she's
You
all
know,
year round.
I know. And so, like, what exciting things can you do that you just have something to look forward to? And it could be like a half an hour a week. It does not need to be this huge intentionality. Do you have cozy movies and you break out, this is like the winter blanket or like your winter cardigan.
Fuzzy socks.
Yeah, fuzzy socks, like all the little things. I find like decorating like a smidge really improves my mood. Like I went to a thrift store recently and bought like a wreath for $4 and put it on my door, and like seeing that when I get home is exciting.
So it's almost like finding the beauty in the season,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And I think about kids love snow. I'm excited for them to have a snow day. I'm excited when we don't have a snow day. But I remember the joy of childhood. You know, I'm like getting older where like you watch the screen go.
man.
And like now you just like get a text. But I'm excited when the kids get a snow day. And especially then like the staff does. And like at EMU, sometimes we have snow days, and adult snow days are even better.
Oh, they're
They
excellent.
are so
Yeah.
Students
great.
still know that we are more excited about the snow days than
Oh, I'm so excited. And so those things can make it looking forward to, like getting new mittens if you want to, or like your favorite things. Love the library, EMU, local libraries. They have a lot of winter activities to look forward to.
Yeah, I like that. And you do journal writing too, right? During the winter, and
Yes.
things that you're grateful for. And do you talk about things that you're grateful for in the moment, or things that you're grateful for that are coming, like future?
A little bit of both.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, I like to like start off my day if I can with gratitude and just Thanksgiving. So many blessings that I have in my life that I sometimes take for granted. And so just taking a second to like reframe your mindset at the beginning of the day. Like I do journaling, and I also do like sometimes I'll do like a walk. Like I'll do like a gratitude or a prayer walk, and I'll just like speak it out loud. And it's such a grounding thing for beginning your day. And it's something that I've really loved to implement. And even in the winter, like it's really hard to get yourself outside and go on a walk, but you feel really good when you do. So bundle up, get all your stuff on, and go on your little 10-minute walk, because it really does make a difference.
The fresh air, especially when it's like sunny, but there's snow. I definitely encourage the walks. Like I did that for one winter every day with the dog Bailey. And it was super helpful. Like I don't like being cold, but like I never felt worse.
Yeah.
And so like reminding yourself, like, could you take a little extra walk and see the pretty things on campus? If there's lights going by the student center, particularly at night, just the light up of the student center or the lake house is just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Those are great ideas. Great
I'm a
ideas.
little excited now for winter. Before I was like,
I think I might be
Yeah.
feeling a little better, but a little better
Because
about
today's
it.
a snow day for Ipsy and Ann Arbor. And I was excited for them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. And I got things that I can do to kind of cope, with those
Yeah.
cold days that are coming.
No, sleep and circadian rhythms are also connected to SAD, right? Can you explain what our circadian rhythms are in sleep and how it's connected?
Yeah, so there's like a biological clock in each of us of how sleep is predicted. And so sometimes people work a third shift or different shifts and they get off of that, but our body has a natural kind of like when we want to wake up and sleep. And so a lot of us experience that when it hits, I don't know, what is like 4:30? I'm like, oh my God, why is it so dark? And then I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, oh, and it's like 7:45. Honestly, it's like 6 o'clock. I'm like,
Right.
okay, cool. And then I'm still working potentially. So then it's like the sadness, particularly if you work, you get to work before it's light, you leave after you haven't seen a window. And so that could all lower the mood. And it's like, okay, I got to do this again tomorrow. And then we're all waiting until the spring and spring forward. And then I feel like that makes it dark again. And I'm like, what is happening? And so trying to get proper sleep, have cozy things that make you happy, renting movies from the library, and particularly winter themed ones can make the season a little brighter. Because a lot of time there's focus on like the Thanksgiving and the December holidays. And there's like, what are we doing January to March? And then finding different opportunities.
And there, you mentioned light. There are artificial lights that
Yeah.
people can get that Are they helpful? I mean, I've seen some really cute ones on Amazon, but do
Yeah,
they help?
yeah. So Happy Lights, like $30-ish. Kind of looks not like an iPad, but iPad shape. And you can sit in front for 20 minutes and incredibly bright and help to regulate yourself. If you have a flex savings account or health savings account, you can also have it paid through that, I believe. I know, right? It resets January 1st for me. And so making that a practice. And part of it is also the psychological, I'm doing something to take care of myself. Something I do is the red lip from the lip bar.
And it's cute.
All right, I love that.
Is that Boss Lady? What do you
Boss
wear?
Lady. And so when I'm feeling down, I put the lipstick on, and this just feels like, oh, I took care of myself today. And so do a happy light, do whatever it makes sense for you.
So a happy light. I want to learn more about
Yeah,
these
go to
happy
Amazon.
lights.
Put it
Okay.
in an Amazon search.
Wow. Yeah, that
Do you have a
sounds
candle?
interesting.
Like I find I like citrus when I'm feeling down because it's just like a light up, like feels uplifting, versus like was it a pine kind of smell is like calm but cozy kind of thing, but I don't feel like the uplifted mood.
Oh, that's good tips. I love that. So we talked about this. Is it circadian? Can we talk about your sleeping habits? Did you experience any of that? Did you find any ways that you can cope with some of your sleeping patterns?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
So I recently just started this kind of new sleep experiment, and it's been really, really helpful for me in actually getting good rest. And that is putting my phone in a basket by my bed, like 30 minutes before I go to bed. It has to be in the basket and put away. And then the first 30 minutes of my day, I'm not allowed to go on it. And it's made such a big difference in me being able to get out of bed, start my day, improves my sleep, improves my mood. So really recommend it if you have never tried it before. It's really hard when you're used to, because I used to go to bed and I would go on my phone at night and I just scroll and scroll and all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. And the next morning you feel terrible.
Right.
And then you do it again in the morning because you need to wake up with your phone. And it's just not true. You just don't need that. And it's really, really helped me. And so I think that is something that I would assume a lot of college students can relate to, is we use our phones to try and unwind, to go to bed, and we also use it to try and wake ourselves up in the morning. But your sleep and productivity will skyrocket when you just, all it takes is 30 minutes.
I love that.
do
Love
too.
that.
It's so hard because I watch a show when I go to bed. I'm like, which show do I want to hear while I fall asleep that I've already seen? You know, what series I'm on?
You watch them on your phone or?
Yeah, like I'll just put something on and then watch it for 5 minutes and then keep it going. And and if I wake up in the middle of the night, restart the show, even though it's just background noise. I know it's not a great habit.
Well, I mean, but you know what to do. You know,
Yeah.
you can turn it on, off, and you know what to watch for on social media. Remember you said you follow the dogs, pets on social media, which now, of course, that comes up on my social media at 10 o'clock at night.
Well, and
Makes me
everyone's
happy.
different. Like, just because that works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else. But just something to try if you find yourself not being able to fall asleep at night. How late have you been on your phone?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Particularly just a routine. Like, what does that routine look like for you? What is your wake up routine? The science shows waking up the same time every day is the most important, which is tough when you do it all week. I want to sleep in.
This is my sleeping day.
Yeah, and that can make it difficult because then you are on Sunday, you sleep in, maybe take a nap, and then at night you're not as tired, and then it starts the week off bad. And it's like this adulthood of like your parents said growing up, just go to sleep. And I'm like, that's not cool.
Unfortunately, we're coming close to winding it up. I know. I hate it. You guys have given so many great tips. Any more that you have that you've not shared that you want to share, or any last words?
I think making a intention, I don't want to say commitment because that's a very heavy thing, of how can you improve your connections during the winter, especially like just low effort things. Again, the library, like I've gone to a library where they have some sort of like craft activity. You don't have to talk to anyone, but you're at a table and you can easily get away with like, your focus on the craft. but you could also like make an intention of like, I'm just like, hey, I'm Aisha, this is what I do. And then someone may introduce themselves. So I think just trying to find something to look forward to.
That's good.
I have a couple things that I wanted to mention. The first being is for commuters especially is like being intentional about the pre-existing relationships you have in your life. So those relationships you had going into college, your friends, your family, just being intentional about like you still have a support system to tap into. There's so many people that love and care about you. And I just wanted to close with you're not the only one who feels the way that you do. And even if you have those moments of loneliness, there are things you can do to help yourself and to help others around you. So just be kind, be bold. Don't be too hard on yourself. You might have some good days, you might have some bad days, but you're not alone.
Can I just say I just love you as a guest, Bella?
I am
love
telling
having
you.
you
That's so
here.
calm.
She's so cool. I can see you as a therapist.
I was gonna say, like,
But
So
she's a
sure,
PR major, but she still might go into that because we have an excellent PR program. No, but
yeah.
You can do so much with PR.
Yeah, you
You
can.
can.
You
You
can.
absolutely can.
That's why we love what we do.
yeah. Thank you both so much for being here, for all of your contributions, and for helping the rest of us to get through
Yes.
this season of affective disorder, sad, winter blues, whatever you want to call it. Now we have more tools to do that. So thank you so much.
Thank you both. Yeah, great discussion.
That was a really good show, and I'm glad we had Bella here because I would have never expected her to suffer from loneliness in college. So that means if she did, there are probably a lot of others who do also, and that we can really help.
Yeah, that's true. This is a great show, and the timeliness of it just makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
It's cold outside, and people are suffering from isolation.
We are. It's winter.
Definitely so. So that's our show for this month. Now that you know seasonal affective disorder is real and it affects so many of us, I hope you also know that you are not alone and that there are ways you can cope.
That's right, Melissa. I love that Aisha and Bella gave us so many ideas to get through winter without feeling so sad. For me, it helps to get away to places where there's more sun. But for you, it may be totally different. What's most important here is that you listen to your body, you be present in the moment, and you decide what you need. We want you to be well. Y'all be good.